Other than just providing electricity for municipalities, photovoltaic cells has some unique applications. And what I mean by that is the electricity, the way it's currently generated at a central location at a power plant, say a coal-fired power plant, the electrical energy is generated at one place, and then there's a grid, a power grid, where that electricity is moved around cities and states in the nation, really. The United States, there's a huge grid of electricity that's moved and shared from location to location across state lines. As it turns out, interestingly enough, Texas is on its own grid, which is really, really interesting, but the rest of the nation is all connected. But as it turns out, one-third of the Earth's population is not tied into a grid, an electrical grid, okay, not tied into an electrical grid. So they do not have a consistent power source. All right, and so this kind of solar technology lends itself well to these isolated places. That's why out in the middle of nowhere on a rural highway, maybe you'll see a solar panel with a flashing light that says curve ahead or something like that, because it's just too expensive to get to get that point in the middle of nowhere, say Texas, on the grid. But imagine one-third of the Earth's population not tied to a grid at all. And so here's an example. I believe this picture is from India, where somebody does, there's no electricity here, and they have solar cells running a water pump so that they can have a well that goes down deep where there's clean water. All right, so even though maybe in the developed countries there's not a huge demand right now for photocells, but in the developing world it really is. But there again, it's expensive. Somebody has to come up with the idea where it's needed, and somebody's got to pay for it. So the other thing about the solar cells that needs to be you need to remember is that they only work when the light is on, and the light is only on if you're outside during the day. And so with these solar cells, you have to have a battery backup, where you have a rechargeable battery that during the day is being charged up by the sun. The sun can run the photocell, it can run the motor on the pump, and it can also recharge a battery, so that at night the pump can run on the battery. So you have a rechargeable battery backup, and it's recharged by the sun's light. So there's lots of applications for the photovoltaic cells, where there's a lot of interest in making it more of a viable source for electrical power. And as you move on through your life, you'll see more and more photovoltaic cells used for just common municipal power generation. There's actually a huge photovoltaic cell yard, or whatever you want to call it, going in outside Las Vegas at a military installation that will power the entire military installation of about 15,000 service people and their families.